So don't mind the mess in the garage. I'm going to show you what we have going on. So this is our large dehydrator. So I put a lot more of the poblanos in there. This was the last of that batch that I just did. And these are red ripe poblanos that are then dehydrated, and those are then called anchos. So you might see them at the store. If you look up, a lot of authentic Mexican cooking uses anchos a lot, and they're delicious. They have a very sweet, fruity flavor. And then I also had dehydrated more of the guajillos. We have tons of these. We cook with both of these all the time. I have more flowers drying in here, and I have a whole bunch of dried flowers inside that I'm working on right now for wreaths. We have tons of peppers left, and so I need to pickle a bunch of these. I'll probably freeze some more of these, and I'm gonna actually throw some of these in the dehydrator due to the lack of space in the freeze dryer. I need to deal with these cayennes, they're ripe, and the Thai chilies. And then we have a ton of tomatoes. Some are ripe now, so I need to go through and pick out the ripe ones. And I probably will make even more tomato soup. I have more guajillos that are ripening, some more cayennes that are ripening, and then all of these poblanos. I need to figure out what I'm doing with those that aren't ripe yet. These I may actually do the broil, and then you put them in a bowl and let them steam for a little bit off their own heat, and then you take the skins off, and they turn a little mushy, and you put that in a lot of sauces and salsas for Mexican cooking. I may try to actually do all that processing with the poblano and then freeze them into serving sizes for the different recipes that we have. But TBD on that, that's a lot of work, and I'm not sure I have enough time for that. But give you an idea, these bread trays typically hold 20 pounds or more of tomatoes per tray. So these were all full, and I've been slowly working my way through them. And so keeping them in the garage, and we open up this garage door in the afternoon, gets good sun right here, then I don't have to lug them in and out all the time. We also have the mill lumber here. So we have some of the red oak, I've got ash, got black cherry in here, I've got pine, got, a little bit of everything kind of mixed in. So we are still figuring out the best drying setup for this. We even have some more over on the other side of the tractor. But right now, we're also planning a garden shed that will be have a lot of windows, and will also have a dual purpose of being our maple sugaring shack in the spring. But will give me a place where I can actually put all of my fertilizers and my specific garden tools and not have to climb over lawnmowers in the red shed to get to them. So I'm excited about those. The cookies we had done did have some cracking. We need to research how to deal with these best. I don't know if we need to seal them really fast so they don't even fully dry out or what, but there's some definite research and learning curve here that comes with all of this milled lumber. We have a lot more logs to do, and we are hoping to get another load of hemlock. There is some hemlock in here too somewhere. And then there's some more wood outside as well. So kind of all over the place at this point. Since we moved in here, we haven't done anything with this garage, and the goal is to potentially remove some of these cabinets that are on the walls and put some more shelving, maybe some lumber shelving, make some another workbench with a bunch of the ash. See how we can actually make this a little more functional and space in here. This is a very large garage. I think it's 36 by 40 or so it is a really nice space, and we do have the extra large doors, so we could actually build some of the stuff like the chicken coops and the sheds that Jay's planning on doing right in here, and pull them out with the tractor, and so he can work on these through the winter. So this is my seed garlic. These are all the garlic that I've pulled out. This should give us over 300 heads of garlic for next year. That's about the same amount we did last year. Last year I had to buy a bunch of garlic to get the quantities up that quickly, but now I should never have to buy any seed garlic again. This leaves us, I think, somewhere around 10 pounds for us, which sounds insane. We actually use a ton of garlic, but the good part about that is we actually are planning to freeze dry some and make our own garlic salt and garlic powders. Here we've got our onions drying in these bread racks, and you can see the top tray actually we've been using from already. That's dried. The bottom tray is already dried as well. Those two will actually get moved to the other garage, which we keep at about 50 degrees, 45, 50 degrees. That kept the onions last year really well. And the onions in the middle trays are the ones that are still drying. So with that, I do tend to open this door, and when I open the garage door for the wood and for ripening the tomatoes, that allows really good airflow through here, so it's not very stagnant. We also have 13 and a half foot ceilings or something like that in here, so that helps as well. Again, onion amounts look pretty crazy. Last year we bought 40 pounds at the end of the season because we didn't have enough of our own. It was like 30 or 40 pounds. And we went through and we only had maybe 6 or 7 pounds left at the end of the season, or end of the winter, by the time we were actually starting to have our own onions in the garden. So the concept was we needed 40 pounds, seemed like a good amount, but we're also planning on making our own onion powder. And so I'm pretty excited about that with the freeze dryer. So I saved out a bunch of these small onions and some garlic here in our freeze drying setup. It's a little messy, so I've been working out here quite a bit this past week. And we've got this table for $100 off Marketplace, and it's a hole in it. So my dad is going to actually build us a new cutting board that will be this full space using lumber that we've milled. You can see I've got some candy out. I did do a candy batch yesterday. I also have been doing some dried flowers, so that's been a lot of fun. And so I've been making wreaths and things like that. Over here we have a bunch of our sweet potatoes that we had curing in here, and we will be putting some of these down in storage for the winter, and then also making a bunch of sweet potato chips, which we love. Over here you can see Skittles. I thought this was the weirdest thing. They blow up because of the sugars, and people are obsessed with these, so we've been making some for some of our friends, and that's been a lot of fun in between batches when I don't have other things prepared and ready. So we have so far made pepper chips. Oh, I should show you these too, actually. We've got some bell peppers in here too. So I need to deal with those today too. We've made plain bell pepper chips, barbecue rubbed bell pepper chips. We've done tomatoes with seasoning without, cherry tomatoes, same, which have been a big hit. We've done candy, including candy corn, Skittles, Starburst. We have done a few other things now. Oh, and flowers and leaves. So we tried to get some of the fall leaves done. So it's been really fun playing with this, but I have a ton of apples that we went and harvested or picked and did pick your own this past week. And so I need to continue doing apple chips as much as possible now. So that's what we're going to be putting in next. And we will continue to update you guys on that. So I was able to package all of these apples up, the cinnamon and the plain. So that's a lot of what we've been doing with the harvest. We also have a freezer full of peppers. I do about 5 to 6 ounces of chopped just washed and dried bell pepper. And from there, I put them in 5 or 6 ounce vacuum sealed bags, goes in the freezer, and those lasted us throughout the entire winter. Last year I did about 20 something bags, so I did about 30 bags this year just to make sure we had extra. And those go in all sorts of things from chili to stews and soups and steak and cheese or fajitas and things like that. So they're delicious. The texture, once they're cooked, you don't notice, but they're not that great textured if you want to eat them raw. So that's kind of the deal here of how we store and harvest a bunch of our stuff, but mostly it's canning. So I will show you guys some of the canning as well. So our pantry's a little messy, but I did want to show you guys what we've canned this year. So we have pepperoncinis, and we do recommend not boiling in the water bath as long. So do like a 10-15 minute. Otherwise they get mushy. Also add the pickle crisp into these. We're trying the pickled cherry tomatoes and 2-ounce tomatoes for the first time. We'll see how those go. I'm wondering if it's really more something to cook with versus something we can actually stick on a salad, but maybe it'd be good in a pasta salad. So TBD on that. We did a bunch of pickles, and so and we did try freeze drying. Let me find down here. Freeze drying some of the pickles as a test, and these have been a all-time favorite of everybody who's tried them. So I will be freeze drying a bunch of these jars. We have peaches that we got, went local picking, and so got those. We have a bunch of salsa, and so you can see there's a medium, there's a hot that's on another shelf. And then I have our regular tomato sauce, which is really just a very simple tomato sauce. You can see the different colors. It's based on the different tomatoes I used. We don't usually use plum tomatoes. We usually use actually large slicers and cook it down, just because we like the flavor better. So this sauce is onions, garlic, a little bit of olive oil. You cook that down a little bit, then you add quartered tomatoes. We do 5-pound and 10-pound batches depending on what we have for tomatoes, and then salt and sugar, and that might be it. It's a very base tomato sauce, but the best thing about canning a base tomato sauce is that it leaves you so many options to cook with. We use this to make our chili, for example, and a bunch of stews and soups and different things. So highly recommend having a base. And you can see we have quite a few jars in here. We've already been using actually quite a bit. You can kind of see the dents here. But yeah, that's our main source for tomatoes. Our goal is to be self-sufficient in some things, and so tomato products is really been on the list, as well as pickles and peppers. So trying to be self-sufficient in all of those things. This year we've got onion and garlic that will be all ours. So these are our onions that we cook with, and then I've got a whole bunch of onions out in the garage, which you already saw. Then we have another whole row, and actually all of these jars back here are herbs and peppers that we've dried, chipotles. So these are smoked jalapenos and maritas. This one actually is, I think, more of a marita. A chipotle is cooked down on the smoker even further and is usually brown, actually, by the time it's done. But we do have both. So these next row, we have the hot salsa. We've got taco sauce, large tomato sauce jars, barbecue sauce, and then tomato basil sauce. You can see all the onion droppings on the top of the jars. I need to clean up, but the basil sauce is the same sauce, but we add 2 cups of fresh basil leaves, and it makes a really good pizza sauce. Some smaller jar for taco sauce, and then tomato soup back here. We also have large tomato soup jars. down here. So if we have guests over or something like that, we'll have extra tomato soup there. The jalapenos are actually from last year. We have some candied and regular pickled. We've got some last year's salsa that we need to use up, relish, and then these are the sun-dried tomatoes that we're trying this year. Mixed peppers that are dried and dehydrated, and then these are the guajillos that we cook with all the time from the garden. And then up here, come back up, we have a whole bag, probably 2 bags now, of the poblanos, which these are anchos, so they're ripened ones, the ones I showed in the dehydrator. So that's just to give you an idea. We also have the freezer, which I can show you guys. It's pretty much all peppers. So I will take you guys over there shortly. So this is our spare freezer. Like I said, we have lots and lots of peppers, all different types of peppers, hots and some sweets and different ones in here. So we have a lot of hot sauce to make, as you can see on the top shelf. And then down here, we have these packs of bell peppers. So this is a serving size. So again, another thing we're trying to be self-sufficient in. And then I've got corn that we are froze this year that we're excited about. And we've already been using some of that in things. And then celery. So we've got more corn and more peppers in the next shelf, but it's very messy. So just to give you an idea of our freezer, and then we also buy a lot of meat in bulk. So these are the peppers and the about just over 10 pounds of tomatoes that I need to cook with today. And so as we go through and we try to figure out what we want to make, and whether it's what we want to eat this week or whether it's something we want to can or freeze, we're always trying to figure out what we can replace in our everyday grocery list. And just again, to be a little more self-sufficient, and it's going to taste better and fresher, and we'll know where the food came from. All very important things for us. So I pulled in some garlic. I'm looking up different pepper sauce recipes. These are, the bell peppers, Ace Bells. So I still have quite a few of those left. But as you're going through and really think about what you can do from a base recipe standpoint. So, your tomato sauce that you might be using a lot. We use bell peppers in cooking all the time. So those were the big crops. Onions we use all the time. And garlic we use all the time. And actually I have a whole bunch. I have 17 pounds of garlic downstairs, I think. So we have quite a bit of garlic. That's how we plan our gardens and our growing, and then we do some fun crops on top of that. And also we use these things to trade. And so we did just start a new local trade group, barter and trade for homesteading farmers and backyard gardeners. And so that's going to be really fun. But yeah, I hope this was helpful to see how we do use all of our produce, and got produce pretty much all over the house in different areas. Thanks for watching, and if you have any suggestions or comments or questions, please leave a comment below, hit the thumbs up button, and subscribe so you can follow along to what we're doing. Thanks for watching.